Good evening, viewers. Welcome to yet another episode of our weekly education forum. In tonight's program, we'll be talking about the School Improvement Grant and the impact it has made in our schools. In tonight's program, it's a regional banter here in Region 1. In the studios, I have with me the Principal Education Officer, Region 1 Directorate, Mr. Mbenga. Mr. Mbenga, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And next to him, we have Alhaji Matar Balde, the coordinator, IFONET. Mr. Balde, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Next, on my left, my immediate left, Esa Sow. Esa Sow is the Assistant General Secretary, Gambia Teachers Union. Gentlemen, you're welcome in tonight's episode. Mr. Mbenga, after all the sensitization and all the activities within your region on this school improvement grant, what impact has the school improvement grant made in your region?
Thank you very much, Mr. Njai, PO School Broadcasting. As you said earlier on, I'm representing the regional director who would have loved to be here, but due to unavoidable circumstances, she asked me to come and represent her here. You are right, the School Improvement Grant Initiative started with the lower basic schools this year, as in other regions. Region 1 is no exception. It has created a series of impacts, but primarily, one could confidently say that the main impact brought about by this School Improvement Grant Initiative is this increase in enrollment in grade 1 for 2013-2014 academic year. Evidently, we can even see that schools like Bundum have a spillover of 250 students on their waiting list, meaning there is limited space that could house these children. So the impact in this case is a surge in enrollment in grade 1 for this academic year. And I'm sure this pattern will continue even in the other levels when the grants reach them.
Well, if at all, I mean, you're seeing enrollment, improvement in enrollment. What do you think, I mean, the ministry should do to be able to sustain, I mean, such improvements?
Well, before I come to that question, I think the school grant, before the start of the school grant, a study was conducted called Out of School Children, or non-participation and retention. The study pointed out clearly that cost was the major cause for children not accessing school. I mean conventional schools. And alternatively, they were using madrasas and daras. But since the advent of the grant, as I said earlier on, we've seen an increase in enrollment. What government or the ministry can probably do and has been doing is, of course, to provide the necessary infrastructure, that is classroom, furniture, and of course also train the required personnel who would be in the schools to deliver quality education.
Now, if you talk about, improvement on enrollment, are there any other, areas that have, improvement?
Yeah, I think it also triggered community involvement, in the sense that communities begin to realize that they have a major role to play in schools, especially the mothers clubs. We've seen that the grants, yes, they are provided, but there are supplements, if you like. Schools should be able to mobilize extra funds, not by levying children, which is the main reason why, in fact, the grants are provided, but schools, through their PTAs, through their SMCs, through the mothers clubs, they can generate extra income to provide for schools And a good example again, I think, is Bundung, where in fact the SMC has even taken it upon themselves to give them a soft loan of about $8,000, which they are banking and using so that they can generate extra income to support the school in many other areas. And I think that should be emulated by other modest clubs in our lower basic schools.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mbenga. Ms. Alhaji Matar Balde, as the coordinator, FNET, and you were the one who coordinated the sensitization, at the initial stage. Can you please tell us, or share with us the way you see this particular activity going into schools?
Thank you very much, Tamsir. I think Mr. Mbenga had said it all. Most importantly for us in FNET is the ownership of the school by the communities, the roles and responsibilities that have been taken up by, as said inter alia, the mothers clubs, the school management committees. Because, as we always say, education is the business of everybody. And for us, the school improvement grant is really giving us the opportunity as stakeholders to participate in the management of the school. And so I think one of our major outcomes as a network was to see the greater involvement of the community in the running of the school. So for us, I think that is a good start. Let me just put it that way, because we haven't got any empirical data as yet. But from what we are gathering, from the reports and from other discussions we've been having with stakeholders, there are all indications that the sensitization is paying off. It's paying off in the sense that the communities are really responding and taking their roles responsibly.
Well, as the coordinator of this particular program to create awareness in schools, what do you think is the next step? What advice do you have for the ministry to be able to sustain such a program in schools?
Well, I think there are still some challenges. There are still some challenges that we have to face. Sector. First and foremost is people's acceptance, parents' acceptance of the principles, underlying the school money improvement grant. We know from studies that have been conducted that children were not going to school because of other reasons, but most importantly because of the cost associated. Now that that cost has been removed, I think we are seeing a lot of children being enrolled. But still, I think, understanding the principle of the school improvement grant, understanding the reason behind, government establishing the school improvement grant still needs to be understood and appreciated. I think we still also have to do more sensitization. And I think for now, there have been a lot of regional sensitizations have been done. But I think the clusters and the communities is really where we need to focus now. We need to go down to the clusters. We need to go down to the communities, the villages, and and really explain the principles underlying the policy. We also need to really engage other stakeholders that have stake in the process. Here